We're going to talk about decentralized social media.
Oh, no wonder you were going to social media.
No, honestly, it just kind of worked that way.
Okay.
The Where's Bob thing, I just had to bring it up with you. We haven't talked
Yeah.
about it in a while.
Friend.Tech.
Yeah, Friend.Tech here. This came
I've
out
never
this
used
week.
it.
You guys haven't heard about this yet?
No.
Okay. Decentralized is kind of a loose term, but we'll call it like on-chain. It's an app that runs on the base blockchain, which is Coinbase's layer 2. We'll get into all of that. Let me first ask you guys, if we were to tokenize your social networks or just your networks, who do you think would trade at a higher price in the market?
What do you mean socialize our, what does that mean?
So what we're going to talk about here is the tokenization of a social media network. Let's say, for example, a Twitter profile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What Friend.Tech does is it connects to that, and it allows you to tokenize that presence, tokenize that account as a creator.
Yeah,
So,
I like that idea.
who do you think would trade more in the marketplace? I know you're not necessarily on Twitter. Tony has quite the presence.
So, what do you mean who would trade more? Do you mean Twitter or a tokenized Twitter?
Yeah, I guess I should explain this.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about
'cause I'm not
tokenized.
Twitter, but you can
So you're talking
mention
about tokenized Twitter versus
that
Twitter?
my close to 33,000 followers that I built organically by myself.
yeah.
When Sosnoff told me Twitter was for Johnnies and never going to amount to anything, became a $40 billion company that I jumped on early.
Tokenized Twitter versus Twitter? Is that what you're asking?
It's a way to tokenize a Twitter account. So it's not
tokenize a
through,
Twitter
yeah,
account.
it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
through
got it,
Twitter, but
okay.
it's connected to it. So
Okay.
Friend.Tech, decentralized social media network, where you can basically invest in your friends or anyone, right? If I wanted to buy
Would you invest in me?
buy shares in Drake or someone,
mean,
or
for
shares in
$1.
Tom,
Shares in Tony.
shares in Tony, which
Don't say it with a downbeat.
no, I think
you're
you, like no offense, Tom, I think that Tony would trade at a higher price in the market.
Oh, you're asking who's going to trade at a higher price? Oh,
Yeah, you're tokenized.
Well, I don't have any
your network.
I don't have any Twitter presence, but I mean, give me a
You
week.
could.
15
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
Give him 15 minutes, 30 minutes.
I mean,
30
it's
seconds.
It's August 24th.
People have to find them.
It's August 24th. If you give me till September 1st, I'll double him.
Well, you're
I'm surprised you need a week.
You're kind of on Twitter though, right?
No, not really. I haven't made a post for 11 years.
But you gain you're this account that's there that I think is you in some capacity.
Some of it's are me, some of it's are
followers.
fake.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of followers, but they're not. Some are. I don't post anything.
If Tom friends you on any social media, I would be leery of it. It is not Tom.
Now, I'm going to be on Bad Trader. I'm going to be making guest appearances on Bad Trader.
Okay.
Because I'm very excited about that. I'm going to be doing some stuff with Julia on Bad Trader. And then I don't really want to get onto. I hope I don't have to get onto Friend.Tech or Twitter. But if there's like a webinar or
And
something,
he is
I'll
on
do it.
Bumble and Tinder.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you're not getting on Discord, Friend.Tech is harder, I think. Harder
Is it really?
To log into.
Yeah.
We'll talk
Well,
about that
I'm
in a
on
second.
Discord now.
Nvidia
Okay.
up 12, trading about $3 off its lows.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. This is a little bit different. You can't download this as an app in the App Store. What you have to do is you go to the website. You've got to use a specific browser on your phone. You've got to add it to the home screen, and then you can open up the web app through that process. Though it's still in beta, so you need an invite link. We've actually had a few invite links that we passed out on Spaces and through the Discord, so another reason to kind of check out what we're doing. But what this is, if we just jump back to the prior slide for a second, this is a way, again, for creators to kind of monetize their presence on social media, which you haven't really seen before, right? You go to Facebook or any of the platforms, and there's still that idea that you are the product as the user. And so this kind of changes it a little bit. But what ends up happening is that the network is tokenized in the form of what's called keys. These were initially called shares. This whole thing has just really happened over the last week. There's been other similar applications like this in the past, and it's certainly been in development for a little bit. But the explosion in use happened in the past week or so.
Keys is better than shares because shares
It
have
is.
become too.
A lot of
You're
people
going
say-
over that line again about centralization, decentralization. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the SEC might be interested a little bit more so if you're
Right.
calling these shares. But you purchase a key, and then the
Okay.
key unlocks access to the influencers group. So let's just say it's on Twitter. Now you have the ability to direct message them. You have the ability to participate in a chat room or in a group. And so it's kind of this sense of pay for access, pay to play in a way.
I like
it. It creates an opportunity for people to engage with
I like it.
with influencers. So if we just jump ahead, kind of talk.
I'm getting multiple people saying your Discord is very easy to join. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just click the button on the website.
Yeah.
I guess you do have to. If you don't have an account, you've got to get that set up.
First of all, you have to get an account set up, and second of all, if you just want to listen, yes. But if you want to be a presenter, it's more complicated.
Mm-hmm. However you say it, Tom.
Okay.
Okay, Tom. Sure. You want to be an elite presenter? Yes.
This is good. So if we jump to the next. Kind of going all over the place here, but we jump to the next slide. So you download the app, you connect your wallet, and then this is kind of how it works. So to buy a key, you need to deposit at least 0.01 ETH, and then the initial key is priced at 0. So you have the deposit, and now the first one is going to be 0.01, and then it's going to increase from there. And so in ways, it kind of incentivizes early purchases. I'm not sure if the economics of this work out over time, because more shares or more keys, are created or distributed, but the price also goes up at the same time. So there could be a point at which it just seems like it's unattainable for people to purchase certain keys. We have seen an explosion in the use of this.
It sounds like a little bit like the metaverse. I know. It sounds a little metaversey to me, and it doesn't. I mean, I like new social networks. I don't like them as much when there's money involved, because I feel like there's something else to it. Who rakes off this? Who gets the rake?
You mean you think there's some ulterior motive to this?
Who makes the money on this?
Yeah, so there is
who
a
makes
fee.
The 10% somewhere?
Yeah, who makes the fee?
Yeah, there's a fee that goes to this platform.
Yeah.
Which presumably goes to the developers, which they use pseudonyms, they're anonymous.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, there's a lot of things that you could kind of look at this and say, okay, maybe it's just a flash in the pan, but I think the idea is really, really cool. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. I mean,
It's Friends.Tech?
Friend.Tech, yeah.
Friend.Tech.
And again, this just popped up a couple of days ago or a week ago. But do you think there's something to this? Does this have legs, so to speak, where you're going to see people are going to be able to monetize their time almost, or access to them? And it's not that you need crypto or that you need Web3 to be able to do this. It just seems that crypto has been more of a catalyst for this. It's kind of been confined to that space. But do you think that that'll become more of the norm, where to network with someone, maybe you just have to pay to be part of their group or their following?
I mean, it's entirely possible. I just don't. I haven't seen that. Especially on a new app. New social networks are really hard to develop. I mean, they have this flash in the pan. It's the one hit wonder thing, and I forgot the one that was. Remember that one? I can't remember the last one. It's like $1 billion company overnight, and the next thing you know, it's like, it's
Clubhouse?
nothing. Clubhouse, and then there's, obviously Facebook's Threads, and they're all one hit wonders. Even Facebook's. It's very hard to build up a network that is, sustainable. I mean, we've done it here at Tasty. It's not really a social network, but we've done it at Tasty. We've done it in the financial community over the years. We've also, we're going to try from scratch on Bad Trader to build up a financial social network for young people. And I think we're going to do it the right way, which is free and which is slow. But, we have other, hopefully we can, it's like a Happy Meal. Hopefully we can monetize people over, the next 5 or 10 years. So it's a long-term vision. I think it's when there's money involved or a rake involved, or a VIG, it gets harder.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're seeing, you've seen this in some of the data too. If we jump to the next slide, to your point, how sustainable is this? So we saw the initial explosion, not by any means saying that this is over. I think this is really cool. I think it has legs, I suppose.
Yeah, there you go.
But you can see there's your transactions in blue, and then in black you have the cumulative transactions. So 2 million, let's call them trades, where we're seeing these keys being exchanged.
This is, the thing that's encouraging to me about this is actually something different. What's encouraging to me is there's still this huge appetite for speculative stuff around decentralized apps and decentralized business models, which to me is really exciting, because it's hard to generate this kind of excitement. Like if we go out and we build something in traditional finance, like let's just use like the small exchange for an example. We're building a whole new concept on a small exchange, and it's one of the coolest things. I mean, I'm just not saying this. It's really one of the coolest things we've ever built in the last 25 years. Assuming we can get through all the regulatory crap, assuming all this, we've built one of the coolest. It really is a decentralized model, and it's one of the coolest things ever built. We couldn't get to 2 million people in 150 years. Like the CME's not there yet.
Right.
You know, like we couldn't get to 100,000 people to use it and check it out. Like it's impossible, and it's the coolest technology that we've ever put together. And so I think that, and to me, I don't know how cool this technology is, relatively speaking. I think the stuff that we're building is way cooler, but because you can monetize it, but this is interesting how much interest there is.
I just read a news article that they generated $1.42 million. Did you?
Yeah, if we jump to the next slide, I have a couple stats on just how crazy the explosion in popularity and use has been here. So 100,000 users, and again, this just popped up, and I think it speaks to what you're mentioning, Tom, where given that it is decentralized and maybe that doesn't work perfectly in the future from a regulatory standpoint, but there's no real barrier here. It's permissionless, it's global, it's on the internet.
Yeah, no, I understand. Right.
$25 million in fees were generated.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, it's interesting, obviously that hasn't been, commoditized yet or brought down by competitors and everything else that will happen. But yeah, I mean, listen, the most impressive thing is that there's still a crazy amount of speculative interest out there. And that gets us excited about, the future of all, like we're a huge believer in speculation, and a huge believer that it's completely underutilized space and under marketed space. So we'll see what happens.
The biggest beneficiary of this arguably is Coinbase, where this app only today runs on Coinbase's layer 2. So this is a layer 2 on Ethereum. And what that basically is just a way for more transactions to occur at lower fees and a higher throughput, and then ultimately settle on the Ethereum network instead of just running on the Ethereum network itself. Kind of runs on the side in a way. But this runs on Base, and because of the activity, Coinbase does generate fees on that blockchain. And the fees that are retained by Coinbase to this point, just based off of what the blockchain is doing. There's only a couple of apps on it, and this is clearly one that exploded in popularity. But they've made about $2.5 million so far in fees, and this just launched here at the beginning of the year. So you're looking at
that's great,
or beginning of the month. So it'll be interesting to see. But you're getting more and more of these platforms that pop up, whether it's Base or it's other networks, where any application can in effect be built on top of it. I mean, certainly Coinbase can come in. It's not decentralized. They have a say, I suppose, over what's going to be on that chain and what isn't. But just that it's permissionless and that they're supporting the development of these applications, I would expect that you see some more, ideas pop up. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be sustainable, but it's amazing that the barrier to this kind of materializing is really low, in a sense. And so if we just take a look at the next slide here, and we'll keep an eye on this, but this is just a view into the launch of Coinbase's Base L2. I think you're going to see other financial services firms launch their own chains. I think you're going to see a lot of companies and apps have their own specific chains as well, given how this works from a tech perspective. But you can see that there is some adoption here. We've got the fees that this is generating on a daily basis in yellow, and then the total value locked in various applications and contracts on the chain in blue there. So keep an eye on this. But Friend.Tech is recently popped up and is starting to help drive the growth of this layer 2 in the space. And we'll see what happens, but I think it's pretty cool.
Super interesting.
Who would you guys buy keys in? Is there anybody that comes to mind?
Anybody that comes to mind? Tony Batista.
Yeah. It starts at 0 and it can only go up from there, right?
Yeah,
and
no,
so
I would
if
want to
you're
buy
early. You win.
I would want to buy like a super cheap penny stock, like a Batista. Like that would be that would be cool. Like the only time I'd buy a penny stock would be this situation.
You'd be able to retire after that.
This is embarrassing for me, but I have to say that Sadnov just scalped almost 50 cents on his AMC stock. Good job out of you, my man. You still got it, you stud.
NASDAQ Russell trade has come all the way around to where it's a winner for us this morning. That's crazy.
I did try to this morning to have you put it on.
Did you not see the
you
scalp?
Didn't do it.
The
like
NVIDIA scalp? Did you not see the 1.5 in NVIDIA on the strangle this
Yes,
morning?
I saw it.
While you were sitting there chatting it up.
And more importantly, Sosnoff, I saw you roll a simulated Batman type trade with all 4 legs at one time in Apple. Good job out of you. Way to learn how to use the platform.
Wow.
That was not what you think.
That was not a compliment.
Oh my God. Anyway,
Still got some more AMC.
so I have one more question for you before you leave here, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm just
Before he kicks you out.
before I just
Before this is all over.
flattening out a couple things here as I feel like we're about to crash.
Don't say that. He's unbelievable.
So I feel like the market's about to roll over and die.
Okay,
and
that's
die a
much
horrible
better.
death.
Short cover now. Sort of thing.
Hold it. Didn't Snow open up this morning $7?
All stocks open, Sosnoff, and Snow did open higher. You are 100% correct. It opened around 161. It's 146 right now, down 9 and change.
You ugly. That's what that is. You ugly.
Ugly is correct.
Yeah, you ugly.
Microsoft was up $2 and change. It's unchanged right now.
You ugly too. Ryan, I wanted to ask a quick question. Central bank digital currency
Yes.
in 2.5 minutes or less. Does
You're on the
it?
clock.
Will central bank digital currency has been just so much chatter, and we get so many emails from Bitcoin and digital asset enthusiasts. And by the way, really good news. I heard yesterday from our our dev team and from our project manager that we are waiting on a final paperwork from Zero Hash, and we'll be able to transfer in and out.
Yes.
The programming is all done.
Yeah.
All the digital assets you'll be able to transfer in and out on Tasty
awesome.
now.
Yeah, the team at Tasty Trade has been hard at work for
Yep.
the last 6 months, and here we are.
Beautiful. It's all done. Brianna said we're ready to go. We're just waiting for Zero Hash and talked to Edward last night, so we're really close.
Great.
I just have to send him and Case out to dinner tonight to work through. They're gonna need a couple bottles of wine, and then we'll work through it. We'll get it done. Digital currencies, central bank digital currency. I know it's been talked about. It's in the works. What impact will that have on kind of the legal boundaries that are being discussed and all the is it the end of altcoins or the beginning? Or the reemergence of like a different tier, and what impact will this have on digital assets if there's one? I tend to think it'll be minimal. If anything, it'll be minimal. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think in a sense, and look, a lot of people are afraid of this because it can be abused, maybe more so than I suppose we abuse the privilege of the dollar at times today. All that said, I think when you look at the impact on crypto, my view is that it's the ultimate embrace of.
See, that's what I thought.
Of cryptocurrency.
That's what I feel like. I just wonder about the impact it would have on some of the altcoin markets and stuff like that. But I think it's the ultimate embrace too.
Yeah, I think there's less of a role for a U.S. dollar stablecoin that's issued by an entity like a central or like a centralized entity like a Circle or a Coinbase or PayPal. But I think it's a positive as long as it isn't abused, right? On the other side of that, you can look at how China has used some of this technology. And when you have programmable money, if you do believe that your government is going to abuse its power, then you should be afraid that your money can be turned off. But you can be sanctioned today. So I think at the end of the day, you don't have a different situation. The government maybe, and I'm not just talking about the U.S. government, governments have more efficient mechanisms for control, but it still comes down to whether or not they're going to abuse their powers and their control, which that exists today regardless. So I think I tend to think that the embrace of a central bank digital currency brings liquidity to the space, but I do understand a lot of the concerns. What do you think?
I tend to be in your camp. I think when everybody that's concerned that it's the beginning of the end, I think it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
And I think a central bank digital currency will actually empower the U.S. will give the U.S. regulators a lot more runway. It'll give them it'll make the argument against against Gensler's whole crusade pretty moot at this point. So I think it's actually important.
Yeah, I think we're also years away from this.
I agree. They'll move at the pace. They'll move at the pace of sand.
Yeah.
No, I mean they'll be lucky to move at the pace of sand.
Like in a decade, you might have a central
Yeah.
bank digital currency.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Okay, thank you, Mr. Grace.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Beautiful. Good job, Eddie. We're going to take a quick 90-second break. Even the S&P's up 2, NASDAQ down 48, Russell down 3, and the Dow up 33. Volatility up by 25 cents. Bonds up 6. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Pretty nice reversal, by the way, on the Dow,
Yeah.
on bonds,
Yeah.
on the Russell, on the NASDAQ. I did tell you last night, saw the opening.
We'll be back in 90 seconds. We got more Tasty Live after this with a market measure. Please help me.